Hello world and welcome to World's End Tarot. We're doing something different today. We're doing a pick a card reading for the month of October and we are separating this by zodiac signs. This is for the fire signs, that is Aries, Leo and Sagittarius. That is going to be in the sun, moon and rising of your birth charts. So the idea is that you'll be able to flip around and pick whichever pick a card reading applies for you and your current circumstances yourselves, depending on your birth chart, and hopefully it works out. This is kind of experimental, but something I've been wanting to do for a while. So we have here for you to choose these pine cones, because I feel like they're nice and autumnal and give a nice vibe for October. So let's have a look. This is the first one. It's the smallest little pine cone. Then we also have the medium pine cone here. And then we have the largest pine cone here. That's for pile 3. Okay, we're also going to choose some oracle cards from Denise Lynn's Sacred Destiny Oracle deck. This is for pile 1. Oh, we have pleasure. And I'll give you a little bit of a closer look at these cards in a moment. For pile 2, we have courage. And for pile 3, we have taking risks. So here is the pleasure card closer. That's for pile 1 with the small pine cone. This is the chaos card closer. And that is for pile 2 with the medium sized pine cone. And this is the option for pile 3, taking risks, for the largest pine cone. As usual, I want you to take your time, let yourself be guided by your intuition, by your gut feeling about which particular pile is supposed to be for you and your sign, and then I will see you in your reading. Hello and welcome to you and your reading, pile 1. This is for the fire signs of Aries, Leo and Sagittarius, and you chose the very small pine cone as well as the pleasure card. So let's have a little look at your tarot for your month of October. Let's get the blessings for pile 1, please. Blessings for pile 1 for the month of October. Blessings for pile 1, please, the month of October. We have King of Wands coming up. Blocks for October for pile 1, please. Blocks for October for pile 1, please. Thank you. Oh, that's interesting. I'm gonna have to ask again. It was not clear. Blocks, please, for pile 1. And advice for pile 1 for October, please. Advice, thank you. And overall messaging for October for pile 1, please. Okay. I have my hot coffee here, so please excuse any slurping. Okay, so pile 1. It's looking like a really beautiful month of October for you, I must say. It is looking really positive. Let me move these up slightly for your eye level. I like what I'm seeing here. I feel like you are on a roll. You're somebody who seems to be really taking into account what you are wanting to prioritize in your life, and you're making the moves in order to get what you want. I'm seeing someone who has really high personal standards and is kind of eluding, is that the right word? Someone who is giving off a very potent energy of high standards to those around them. You're very much communicating this not through words, but through action, speaking louder than words. Your motivations and your I think your motivation and your approach to life right now is very attractive to others, actually. Something very impressive to others. People are feeling quite energized by your attitude, and whatever motivation you're bringing into your own life, it's kind of infectious. Other people are really reading that as well, and it's just having a really positive effect on everybody around you. It's really lovely to see, and I think this is partly why this pleasure card is coming up here, because there's lots of opportunities for you to really be enjoying the fruits of life right now, partly because you're in a really healthy, happy, high place. King of Wands really is the energy that you're coming up with right now. It's much stronger than any of the block energy with the Eight of Swords, which I think is really encouraging. And it does show me people who are in leadership positions, yes, but also just generally, like, I feel like you're working very hard, you're very industrious, and it's really in a place of flow right now for you. It's something that feels easy, it feels healthy, and it feels intuitive, and it definitely, particularly if you're someone who works in the creative industries in any sense, there's just something very much in flow going on here with this energy, and there's a lot of pleasure to take in that. So this is what's happening in October for you, pile one. It looks really healthy, it looks really enjoyable. There's a lot of recognition from other people, I would say. There's also some opportunities in October to have people recognize your work, just generally, up ahead. If that's not already happening, it's something that's going to be happening. Blocks, however, I can see somebody who is on the face of things doing really well, but in the privacy of their own lives is maybe struggling with anxiety attacks, lots of feelings of confusion and frustration, and not feeling like you're getting where you need to go quick enough, or feeling like what you're doing, it doesn't matter really anyway, and so what's the point? But at the same time, you're showing up with this energy, and it's like you have a side to yourself that's private, and there's a side that's public, and this public is the King, and this private side is the Eight of Swords. And then so I just want to talk a little bit about how Spirit is picking up on that being a block coming up into October. It just shows me that there is some kind of pressure that you're putting on yourself. It's not necessarily pressure that's literally happening, it's just something, this idea. I think your high standards might actually sometimes it's almost like that comes with as a detriment to yourself and yourself, your mental health. This King of Wands energy that you usually are sort of putting out there, it's not like you're doing it as if it's a performance. It's very much an authentic part of you, but this does seem to cause this idea that if you're meeting a certain standard, you always have to meet it, otherwise you're going to go away and beat yourself up about it. And so October, there is definitely some room for growth in this area in terms of not doing this Eight of Swords behavior, this feeling trapped by earlier success, feeling like you always have to meet a certain threshold, otherwise you're completely failing. It's just not a realistic way of looking at your progress. We all have stages in our life where we're doing particularly well, and other times when we're just not doing so great, but it doesn't mean we're failing. It just is part of the journey. And I feel like this October, there's some tendency for you to really go too far in your own head and kind of freak out when there's little reason to really do that. And something about that is to do with the fact that you've always done really well before, and that just, it feels like that's brilliant, but also at the same time, we do need to work from a place of wisdom to understand that that's not always an achievable thing. And if it was, then maybe you wouldn't be as brilliant as you were, because obviously if you're punching above average most of the time, there does need to be average too. That does exist. You know, not everybody is always going to be on top. It's just not possible. So I would be careful about that mindset in October. That's something that Spirit is just highlighting for you here. Overall, I'm not worried about this particular Eight of Swords energy, because I really don't feel like that is the main story of your month at all. I really do feel like there's a lot of engagement going on in here. There's a lot of contentment going on in here. There is definitely prosperity and family contentment as well. 10 of Cups coming in here is just such an indication of experience, of happy family life and joy, and really celebrating your wins in October. I think there's going to be some really lovely opportunities for you to celebrate with family and friends. Not necessarily your wins, but just generally celebrating any sort of life events, or just an excuse just to hang out with people that you care about. There's a contentment. You've really been working very hard, and there's something about the fruits of your labor coming into fruition during October, and that is something that is going to be really fun, and it's looking very wholesome and enjoyable, and yeah, it's nice, it's good. Specifically, it could also be to do with I'm saying this is the kind of thing specifically it could also be about, there's something about completion with the number 10, and because it's in a family kind of event, if you do have children, they could also be celebrating their own personal wins, and you could be facilitating birthday parties or celebrations of them doing well as well. It's not necessarily just you, it's lots of your loved ones involved in this. So I'm seeing parties, and I'm seeing events, and I'm seeing some excuses to treat one another and just really celebrate being alive together in this moment during October. It looks really lovely and beautiful. So it is interesting that you have this Eight of Swords in the background of it all. I wonder if you've got this idea about having to keep up appearances, and I just think that maybe that's something to be less holding less tight to that particular ideal. It's not as important as you think it is. And we have this particularly coming through with the Sun here in the advice position. Spirit is really, really wanting you to lean in to that experience of life, living life to the fullest during October. Any experience that encourages you to have fun and to let loose and to be happy and and I'm talking in a very healthy type of way. I'm not talking about like overindulgent at a party. I'm talking, getting out on a hike and enjoying the sun and the feeling of the wind on your face. We're talking like really just getting down to that basic feeling of being happy to feel alive in this moment in time on the planet. This is something which you can indulge in with people who love you, that are around you. This is something that you deserve, and October really does look like a month of really engaging in what makes a pleasurable experience to your life. All the things that make life worth living. That's what October's all about for you, Pile 1. It's a really beautiful thing to see. I hope you have a wonderful October. I will see you soon. Bye. Hello Pile 2, and welcome to your October reading for the fire signs of Aries, Leo and Sagittarius, and Moon, Sun and Rising. I have a hot cup of coffee here. I'm just going to take a slurp. A slurp? And then we will be getting into your reading. You chose the medium pinecone and the card of courage. So let's have a look and see what is going on with you in your tarot cards. Pile 2. Blessings for Pile 2, please, for the month of October. Blessings for Pile 2, please. Blessings for Pile 2, please. Thank you. And blocks for pile 2, please. I also kind of got this one coming through, so you've got 2 cards coming through here. The Hermit and the Ace of Swords. Okay, advice for pile 2, please. Advice for pile 2, thank you. And the overall message. Overall message, please. Overall message. Okay, fine. Here we go. That one just shot across the table. Did you see that? Okay. Let me arrange these so you can see them all. Beautiful, beautiful times. Okay. Another sip. So there's been other readings today for the same series for this month where courage came up in a very different context. This courage coming up for you is very much a rousing energy, a new energy coming behind you from spirit, really encouraging you to continue with the journey that you're on in October. There's something extremely comforting about this feeling I have coming through me from the cards compared to when the courage card came up before in other readings. I have had this just a different vibe. This is something that you've already got. It's not something that you're having to look for. That's what I'm feeling. This is something that's already inherently inside you. You're a very courageous person. You're not needing to look for courage. You have it there. It's almost as if it's overflowing in you. That's what I'm feeling. And funnily enough, the blessings that you've got coming through along with the blocks are really curious. I need to have a little think just now as I stare at these cards. Something is afoot, just so you know. I do feel like you will need to be quite careful about particularly business, possibly friendship as well. I'm seeing business and I'm seeing scam artistry and I'm seeing friendships being not quite what they seem. So I feel like you're in a very powerful position right now, pile 2, and I think that for some of us that can mean that we attract certain types of people into our lives without really meaning to. Some people who are attracted to power and attracted to wealth and attracted to people who have a lot of resources. So like people who are very, just people who are attractive, like charismatic people, people who are generous, people who have a lot of time or wisdom to give, and people who are it's like they seem like they have quite a lot extra, and so some people who are a little bit less trustworthy are attracted to these people because they feel that they are able to alleviate the guilt that they may have by taking from these people, because they think, well, they've got extra to leave over, so it doesn't really matter. It's not quite the same thing as taking something from someone with less. Or in the very least, they know you already have something that they would quite like to have, and so there's something going on here with that. It's in that theme. Now, I don't know if it's going to be about money, or if it's going to be about time, or if it's going to be about friendship or resources, or I cannot tell you that because that's just not possible. Not anyway for a tarot reading generally, but also just specifically on a general reading on a YouTube video. It's just not possible. That's something that's going to be able to come up. But this 7 of Swords energy for me, there is definitely, you are needing to be keeping your wits about you because you're in a very powerful position. You're somebody who has a lot to give, and you're somebody who's willing to give a lot as well. This is a generous Queen of Pentacles. She's somebody who people really like. She's somebody who is very loving. She's somebody who's very generous. And it's something that some nasty types of characters are attracted to that for reasons, you know, unbeknownst to us. But it's funny because you are, these qualities are some of your best things, and there's absolutely no part of me that wants to tell you to be less like that. I don't want you to be less charming and less generous and less wise and less generous with your time and your energy and your resources. I don't want you to do that. It's one of the best things about you, and it's just that during the month of October, this blessing is something that turns into slightly a block, because I can see that there's something that you don't expect around the corner, the potential for something that you don't expect around the corner, and that is potentially something that may actually it may hurt you a little bit. I don't know what it is. This is so unhelpful. I don't know what it is, but it's because partly it's lots of different things. I can see that the month of October feels quite busy for people who are trying to get what they need before the end of the year. And there's just a potential to feel a little bit burnt from those types of people. So be aware of that in October. The block is really interesting here as well. We're coming up with the Ace of Swords, which is all about taking action, particularly in intellectual pursuits. It's almost as if there's something that could happen in October that really changes your mind about something, really changes your perception of something, and that it does require you to take time on your own and be less available for other people. Because being quite available for other people has maybe possibly put you into a place of vulnerability, and I think that it would be useful for you to do some inner work away from other people during the month of October. I mean, it doesn't need to be a long time, just like every so often, maybe even just an hour a day, but there's some kind of potential for you to regain some of that strength, some of that that Queen of Pentacles energy, by just taking yourself away again and just realigning yourself with your own personal journey, your own personal priorities, because I feel like you may get caught up in trying to help other people a little bit too much, and there is some allyship in these cards for a clue as to how to maneuver the next couple of weeks. If you're not 100% sure what I'm talking about, it's very possible you have a friend or a partner who does, and who you need to listen to for advice. If you're dealing with somebody who you're not 100% on, this person who is your partner or your trusted friend is going to be someone who has a better perspective overall than you do, partly because they're not coming from the situation with the same energy as you. They're not coming from a Queen of Pentacles energy. They're coming from a different place. So they're going to be able to notice things that are just different. They're just going to have a different perspective, and there is definitely strength in numbers for this. So I would definitely make sure that you have the allyship of those that you trust with you, particularly if you're partnered in a romantic sense, or you have a very good best friend that you trust with this sort of thing. They're going to be someone who's really helpful at maneuvering any of the Seven of Swords energy that seems to be coming up for you this October. Like I said before, I'm not worried about you. You've got that courage. It's there in spades. So it's not as if I'm seeing a vulnerability that's super serious, but I am just seeing that you may need to just like hold off on making big decisions. You may need to hold off a little bit and take some time out before you make certain moves, and that seeking advice from other people is the best way for you to actually empower yourself to take a breather before you make any moves. So I hope that this was helpful for you, pile 2. This is your reading, your short and sweet reading for October. If you enjoyed this and would like to see more of my videos, subscribe, and I'll do more videos. But until then, have a good day. See you later. Bye. Hello, pile 3, and welcome to your October reading for the fire signs of Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. This is for Sun, Moon, and Rising, and you chose taking risks with the largest pine cone. So let's pop this over here and this over here, and let's have a look at your tarot cards for the month of October. Let's see. Blessings in October for pile 3, please. Blessings in October for pile 3, please. Okay, we have this one coming up for you here. Blocks, please, for pile 3. Thank you. And advice for pile 3, please. Go. And overall for October, please, for pile 3. Okay. 6 of Cups. Okay, pile 3, let's have a look. So pile 3, okay, so there's a few things going on here. The main theme of this reading seems to be friendship, both friendships current and past. There's some kind of breakage that's happened, and there's a chance this month for reconciliation with that. There's a chance for healing. Now friendship could be friends literally, it could also be family members, it could also be, yes, lovers, but I'm seeing it mostly platonically, okay? And there does seem to be some need for you to take an emotional risk in reaching out. It's also possible that that emotional risk will happen anyway because somebody else will be reaching out. And I do feel like this is something that's been in the pipeline for a while. There's certainly, first of all, in the month of October, definitely time for you to really rest, properly get the rest that you've been craving for a long time now. October seems to be a sleepy month for many of us. There's something in the air about a release. There's something in the air going on about healing, and there's also something about letting go of things that are no longer of use to us, that are serving us, things that have kind of just changed before we really noticed. We're kind of leaving some stuff behind. And I see that that's happening with you. This is one of the blessings that's coming up for October for you, pile 3, that you are in a place where there's more space for you to recover, there's more space for you to rest, there's more space for you to literally get actual sleep that you've been missing out on. But I'm really seeing this as more of an internal healing happening, partly just because there's space to decompress. I'm really seeing that. But I am also seeing something more curious, and this is why I was saying that there does seem to be a theme of friendship coming up in your cards. This 3 of Cups card in the block era is... I think that it will either be difficult for you to meet up with friends that you would like to see, or that there has been some kind of friendship break. Whether or not that's a literal fight or just a break in having seen someone for a really long time, or it could be a group of people or like a few different individuals for a long time. Like, there's been a struggle for you to really get out and see people. And although you're really grateful for the time that you need to rest and recover, there is something here about kind of taking the risk of coming out of your comfort zone and reconnecting with people that you haven't seen in a while. This is why the 6 of Cups is coming up. This is like the overall in October, and this is about reconnecting with your childhood self. It's reconnecting with friends who you may have known when you were younger. I'm thinking this is to do with some of us who have had those friendships fall by the wayside during the last couple of years just because of circumstance, and you may have been keeping in touch with them, but there's something about getting together physically happening now, and that being something that's like a healing experience. Really just, I don't know if that's partly because some of you have been having some fallouts, or partly just because that missing somebody for such a long time and finally seeing them and just laughing and having a drink and telling each other stories and stuff is particularly really soulfully what you're needing at this moment in time, what October really is actually about energetically. And this is what Spirit is picking up on in these cards. I'm interested in the Knight of Wands. I do feel like this is something that requires me to just take an extra card. I have a feeling what it's about. I just want to ask, can you tell me a little bit more about Knight of Wands, please? Thank you. Yeah. I got the Magician card coming up here. Okay. So in order for you to get the most out of this month, pile 3, you need to reconnect with your intuition about who you would like to invite into your life more, or just at all. So those friendships that you miss, really ask yourself, did they fall by the wayside for a reason? Am I ready to make new friends? Or is it possible that I need to really step up if I want to maintain this connection? Maybe I've not been being the best friend that I could have been being. Because this block here with 3 of Cups, there's definitely something going on that where like the friendship it's not quite there, and it's either because of them or partly, yes, because of you. And if it's the case that you've not been showing up in the best way possible, and that's something that you want to change, that's something that you're in control of in October. You're being reminded that you're in control of that you are able to manifest better relationships should you wish to put the investment and the time into that. But it does require you to do something. It does require action. And it also requires you to be mindful and intuitive to the way that other people are showing up in your life and the way that you're showing up in their life. I think it's really interesting that the Knight of Wands is coming up in this particular reading, partly because you're a fire sign, and Knight of Wands really does speak to me with those more active fire signs. There's something about you actively making choices, and I feel like you have been slightly avoiding some choices, partly because you needed to rest, but there's also this blockage going on there, and I wonder if you're frightened of taking the risk of putting yourself out there. October is a time Spirit is actually kind of daring you to do what you intuitively have been wanting to do but maybe didn't have like the courage to do before now. And it's a little bit about putting yourself out there and taking an emotional risk to be vulnerable and to let people know, those friends that you do miss, that ones that were healthy and that have just, you know, slightly been neglected by you, or you've been neglected by them, just to put yourself out there and to kind of clear the air. And this is how we end up in a position where we're able to reconcile and heal some of those relationships that we've been missing. Now, if you are not someone who's dealing with a particular friendship that you're thinking about, if this is bringing up absolutely nothing for you, then there is something about this actually being to do with you being your own best friend. It's not just necessarily about other people. If you haven't really been doing that emotional work, there's a reason that you're feeling quite depleted. There is a lot of the readings that I've been doing recently in this series, where I'm seeing a lot of us neglecting ourselves emotionally, and this could certainly be what's going on here. So again, you are being asked to be intuitive and take action about how best to get yourself out of the kind of restful slump that you may end up being in, and that does require taking emotional risks, whether or not that be with yourself, just doing things that are out of your comfort zone, or literally extending the hand of friendship to someone you've not heard from in a while. So this is the month of October for you, pile 3. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you enjoyed this and would like to see more, subscribe and I will do more. But until then, I will see you later. Bye, pile 3.